What up, peeps? It's your super sketch artist Antonio back again with another review. Now, this time I got to see not one, not two, but three unboxings of the new set Smash and Destroy that is scheduled to come out at the end of this month. So, first and foremost, thank you to all the content creators that have leaked so far. Of course, Scott Porter, Heroclix headquarters, and Dal H. Make sure you go watch their videos, even for 30 seconds. It helps out their algorithm. It helps let WizKids know what you want to see. We know that people are gonna, go to just the figures and stuff like that, but watch some of their content. Keep it on. Like, again, it helps them. With that being said, I'm going to break this review down into three things. One is going to be what has drawn me to this set and from what I've seen. The other thing is the next point is what needs to go back to the drawing board, which is stuff that I kind of like, but needs some tweaking. And the first thing is the thing that needs to be erased, and that is the thing that I do not like about the set. So, with that being the case, let's get started. First things first, one of the things that's really drawn me in is something as simple as this Steve Rogers that we have. Thank you, WizKids, for making a normal, non-costume version of Captain America viable in the game, and something that's very cool. And adding the Captain America hotline, again, a little known fact, if you watch Scott Porter unboxings, you'll see the history behind the Captain America hotline, which, again, if you're a comic reader, you will know because it's popped up every, here and again. But this Captain America is great because it allows you to bring in another Captain America, and we have two in this set. I did not think we would have any in the set called Smash and Destroy, but the cool thing about this mechanic is it doesn't matter who it is. It's the fact of whenever you get to take a character and upgrade them or bring them into something else, I absolutely love that, which takes me right into the next figure that I like, which is the Hulk. Now, this Hulk, the thing I love about this Hulk is we've never seen kind of like a battlefield promotion, which was a thing back in the day. We've never seen a Hulk of all things kind of have like a shifting focus almost, but definitely having, oh, well, no, I think we did in Avengers Defenders War, but seeing this Hulk kind of get more powerful, more angry, and bigger as he KOs things, especially starting off at that 50-point line. I absolutely love that. And stuff like that is what can easily drive you to this set. It's just drawn me to this set, and it'll make me want to collect all of those versions of the Hulk, just so if I do want to play a team like a Defenders or just a team with the Hulk on it and I want to have a Hulk, it doesn't matter if you actually are using just the Hulks from this set. You can use other Hulks, because if you go up to that 75 point or that 70-point Hulk and then you KO something, you can get a bigger Hulk, which in my case, I would probably put in the starter Hulk from the 2025 starter Hulk, which I think is amazing at 75 points, that he only takes a maximum of 2 damage. Chef's Kiss, he has a great end dial. I absolutely love that figure. Another thing that really has drawn me in to this set is Absorbing Man. Like, oh my gosh, who would have thought that you could have, I think it's like through G. So, and then we have the release date. So it's like it's like 8 Absorbing Men in this set. If you would have told me, Antonio, we're going to have 8 Absorbing Men, I would have been like, I understand immediately, because I get it's going to be him absorbing different elements and how his powers work with that. And I enjoy that, even though I've enjoyed the last few Absorbing Men that we have, because he's one of my favorite characters, because I really like his power set and how he's used in comics. But I think this version it reminds me of the Masters of Time Batman. I don't need another Batman, because the Masters of Time Batman that kind of does different things through each iteration that they have. I don't need another Batman. And the cool thing about that Masters of Time Batman is you don't even need all of the variations of him. Most people are going to take maybe 2 of him, and when it comes to this Absorbing Man, there's at least 2 or 3 that are absolute locks if you're going to play Absorbing Man. Sideline space is so limited, but I really like that they've started to add more figures that are sideline active instead of just like equipment and stuff, and figures that you actually bring in the game instead of maybe waiting for like a Beetlejuice or a Reverse Flash or even like an Ares or like a one-time use type of thing. I like things that you can bring in and actually use, more than just an attack or something like that. I absolutely really, really like that, even though I just mentioned two characters that you bring in and they can stay for a while. Another thing that really drew me into this set is the appearance of so many first time characters, especially a lot of the female characters. I'll be the first one to say that there's a plethora of female superheroes and villains, and we don't generally see them. And in this set, we've gotten a plethora of, especially female heroes and some super villains. One of my favorite ones is Quicksand. So seeing Quicksand, when I started reading Thor as a kid, her and a guy named Mongoose were like some of the main guys that Thor was running into at that time. And to see her in Click's form, when I first saw this sculpt, I automatically thought she was a super rare. But to see her as an uncommon with a sculpt that great, that's a super rare level sculpt. And to see her in an uncommon slot, thank you, thank you, thank you, WizKids, for making me not have to track this figure down, because she is a figure that will 1000% be played. I love the unstoppables traits that her and like Primus have. I can't wait to see what the one Juggernaut has whenever he's finally shown. But seeing her with that trait that allows her, that gives all brutes, which is a huge keyword on the come up right now, to give all brutes ESD. OMG, because that's the one thing that a lot of brutes fail at in the game, is just being shot. Even though we're in a close combat world right now in the game, with the map being short and people being able to cross the map so easily, just being able to give somebody that extra bonus without having to equip them, and having a piece that absolutely is viable and that can hold her own. Absolutely love that. Seeing characters like Wave, if you play Marvel Snap, you would know a character like Wave. Seeing her, I love what she does. Her having a perplex and then making the water. There is a lot of Atlantis and water-based type characters that have been popping up in the last like year or so. So to see someone like her at the point, again, I expected her to be a super rare easily, and she is just a 50-point rare, which the sculpt is great, the dial is absolutely great, and I can't wait to play her. Pieces like Debris, again, if you would have shown me, if you would have told me like, oh, these characters are going to be in there, characters like Arrow, Debris and Arrow are just phenomenal, and they actually are going to work together so well. Debris is definitely going to go on one of the teams I can think of right now that I've been bubbling up, and I needed cheap TK, and she gets the job done. And just her being able to a piece, usually pieces that are support pieces like TK, and I think she has it in what she has in enhancement. Usually pieces like that are not, you don't want them necessarily in the front lines, and they don't do a whole bunch of damage. But Debris can actually deal some damage. I mean, her attack value is low, but Avengers team ability helps with that. But the cool thing about it is with the Debris markers, her being able to hurt people with that, it's a lot of soft defenses, not only in this set, but just in the game. So with that being the case, like, I was absolutely excited for that. When it comes to a piece like Arrow, oh my gosh. First off, her sculpt is beautiful. Debris sculpt is great. Wave sculpt is great, like I've said. But to see a piece like Arrow, and to see again the Force Blast, we've seen that Force Blast where it's directional and you can move stuff and different things. We've seen that before with Storm, and it's great whenever we see it. For her points is great, but then also, again, when you have Perplex and different things, when you have support that does double duty, I absolutely love that. So I can't wait to play a lot of these figures together. It's going to be extremely fun. Another thing that has definitely drawn me to this set is, again, them filling in holes. So a big thing for me is I love Thor. Thor is one of my favorite Marvel characters. So when we got the War of the Realms, the cool thing was like, oh, I was expecting a whole bunch of different characters, and there were so many that were lost. Realistically, one of the first characters that I expected to see was Thori, and we hadn't seen Thori at all. So again, he is a first time character, and he was a character that was missing in another set. So while I was upset that certain characters made the cut and he didn't, seeing him in this set, I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm like, okay, go ahead and throw him in. I'm I love what his dial does. I love him being able to find a suitable master and getting buffs from that. Him having the enhancement, or the empower. I absolutely adore that. Cinder, which is a piece that after War of the Realms came out, I did not think we were going to see Cinder, but seeing her sculpt looks amazing. Her standing there with her father's Twilight sword on her back, and the dial looks great, and the sculpt is A1. Oh my gosh, like what she does. Again, characters that can hurt you and then hurt you in different ways as well. We've seen we've seen different characters that can hurt you with fire terrain markers and everything like that. So I do like that they're keeping that as an integral part of the game, and especially with terrain being so heavy as a base in this set, seeing the fire terrain markers is great. Another character was Freya. Oh my gosh. Again, when I saw All Father, I just knew we were gonna get Freya and then get like a dark elf version, like when she kind of like unleashed her powers. I was like, oh, this is happening. It's gonna be so good. Oh, I can't wait, I can't wait. And when we didn't see her, I was like, okay, what's going on with kids? Get somebody on the phone. And absolutely I was upset. And then to see her in this, when I first saw this sculpt, I was like, okay, I was not expecting this dial from this sculpt. So I'm like, okay, but it still works and it still does something different. But another thing that's definitely drawn me into this game, into this set, is the love for all of the close combat and the bruisers and stuff like that. When I look at a character like the Chase Hulk, that's amazing. That piece is getting used by me. 150 points for what he does. Yes, please. Yes, please. Being able to just make a free attack, you're going to have to bring Beetlejuice up out of here, and him having, free move or full move charge. I mean, he's like an amazing piece. Another, again, going back to first appearances, having characters like Harpy in the game, again, all the Seer, Brune, all these different cool female characters that we haven't seen, and characters just that needed to be made into clicks. Seeing them for the first time, the damage control guys, oh my gosh, I read that comic as a kid, so I love seeing that. Okay, now let's get into some things that need to go back to the drawing board. First things first, we need to do away with some of these static poses. Now, I understand that you want to, especially in this set, one thing that was kind of cool is them using multiple characters in one slot. So the biggest thing was, say like the Wrecking Crew. The Wrecking Crew is the three of the four members are all the same sculpt, which I'm okay with because we've gotten some really cool sculpts, and if I really wanted to, I would sculpt swap. But I don't need to with them. But someone like Speedball's just standing there. That needs to go back to the drawing board. We need a better pose that you can switch out the arms and maybe the head or something like that. But the way that is, a character that literally bounces all off the wall, he's just kind of standing there static. It's the same thing as Spidey with like the shrug pose, and let's say Goliath with his like YMCA pose. That needs to go back to the drawing board. You got to do better. You have to do better. Another thing that we need to take back to the drawing board is a character like the Taskmaster, the C version of Taskmaster. Now, when you look at the A, B versions of Taskmaster, one is the Swordsman, one is Hawkeye. The main thing that jumps out at you is the attack values. So you're like, well, why are the attack values so high on these attacking ones? And if he's supposed to be copying Captain America, well, Captain America does a lot of defensive stuff, and that's cool that he's supposed to be like, defensive, but you can be offensive and defensive at the same daggone time, especially if you're mimicking Captain America. Captain America is not out here giving 10 attack. It's It's weak, and I don't like that. I don't like. I feel like just give us all. Why give us all killer, no filler. Just put your foot on the gas the whole way. Go all the way. If you're gonna do something like this, I love Taskmaster. Again, Taskmaster sitting literally right here behind me. Love Taskmaster. This isn't even this sculpt. This is the Chase Taskmaster that came from the Black Widow, which is the best Taskmaster dial we've ever gotten. But I just liked this sculpt way better. This is such a perfect sculpt of Taskmaster. And in this one, he's using the shield. And anyway, um, so this Taskmaster, again, back to these static poses. And I understand that almost every other pose he's kind of battle ready or something like that. You could have bent his knee. You could have did something like this. Is such a plain pose, but this dial has to go. Like this needs to go back to the drawing board, 1,000%. Another thing that really needed to go back to the drawing board for me is, again, when we talk about posing, we also are talking about scaling. So there's a bunch of giants in this set. There's a whole bunch of characters that are giant, and I understand a character say like the Hulk Chase, he has all those bricks that he's busting through. So I understand that making him super big isn't going to be the best thing to do. I just did a video called "Run It Back" on the Chase Hulk from the War of the from Empire set, and he's tiny because of all the adornments and his whip and everything he has makes it so you can't make it super big because now he won't fit in the booster. So I understand that. But when you have someone like this Zax, which I like the dial a lot, I like this Zax. 100 points, I'll do it. Go ahead and give it to me. I like it. This sculpt, what are you doing? He doesn't look like he's made of electricity. He looks like a construct. As a matter of fact, if this showed up in the Lantern Legacy, I would be surprised because it looks like a construct. We can do better than this. I shouldn't have to sculpt swap to a dial or a sculpt from 10 years ago on a current sculpt. And here I am. The moment that I get this figure, it's coming right off his base. And this isn't a bad sculpt. Let me be clear. It's not a bad sculpt. This is small in comparison to the other figures. And like I've said in previous videos, when I do reviews and things, when the scaling is small, people are going to forget, especially newer players are going to forget that these characters are giant and they will not play them to the fullest extent of their abilities. So also the aesthetic looks weird when you say this character is a giant and then you have a character that's not a giant that's actually bigger than them. So Goliath should have been bigger. Zax should have been bigger. When you have someone like Quicksand who is a giant, you look at Quicksand next to all these other characters, Quicksand is huge, as she should be because she's supposed to be a giant, just like the Sandman that came out in the Spider-Verse. These characters are supposed to be bigger. Make them bigger. That's it. The Abomination. I understand that the Abomination and um, the Abomination and the Rhino share the same sculpt. We'll make the Rhino bigger then. Just make him bigger. Just make him bigger and just say he's big. If you're going to do that where you use the same sculpt and one is a giant and one's not, just make the figure big. This reminds me of the Minotaur from Wonder Woman 80. The figure's like this big. And you're like, why is this figure so big? And you put it up next to a Sentinel that's supposed to be a giant. And the Sentinel's tiny. The Sentinel's this big. The Minotaur is huge. And then you made it so it was a figure that nobody even really wanted. So that needs to go back to the drawing board. The scaling, come on, come on. I know y'all can do better. I know y'all can do better. Another thing that needs to go back to the drawing board for me is putting characters that needed to go into one set almost indefinitely into another set. So while I'm a fan of just throwing all the things into the set, when we just had a set called Spider-Verse, the fact that you put Rhino and put Kraven into this set, it's just like, well, why? They would have served so much better in the actual set that was based around the character that you generally see them at. So that's a thing for me. I'm just like, why didn't you do that? I think we can go back to the drawing board with that. I think that can be done better. 1,000%. That can be done better. Another thing that definitely needs to go back to the drawing board is these legacy cards. Sweet Jesus. when you look at the legacy cards, it's first off, it's only 10 of them. So they upped it from the last two that had like 7 apiece, but still down from when they would usually do like 14. So, okay, that's fine. My issue with the legacy cards is you have a legacy card for Miles Morales when you just, or Spider-Man, because he is Spider-Man. You just had a whole set where you had like 4 or 5 different Miles in the set. Why is this Miles in the set? Like, and the way that this Miles works, where he makes everybody unequipped, it would make sense to come right on the heels of Collector's Trove, where equipment was a huge thing. Huh? Huh? You had 3 Miles in the other the set, like in the common, uncommon, and rare slots. You had 3 Miles to do this Miles to do what this Miles does. You had 3 of them to make him just have a traded power action to make people drop all their terrain and stuff like that. Why? Just why? Why did you choose this character? Could have been anyone else. Could have literally been anyone else. You could have been anyone else. So you got to do better with that. We didn't get Sierra, we didn't get any of the Warbound in the actual set. Now I haven't seen all the chases. I might have seen all the super rares for the time being, or the majority of them, but I can almost guarantee that Sierra, unless she is a chase, which okay, is not in the set, and that's Hulk's wife. If you don't know who she was, the Warbound is also from a story called Planet Hulk, where Hulk was shot to space. You can watch the animated version where they change it up a little bit. They put Beta Ray Bill, and where another character that is a legacy card, the Red King, is in there. So you have the Red King, you have other characters that are Warbound, and you don't put them in the set. B, you don't put them as legacy cards. Come on, WizKids. Y'all can do better than that. You can do, I know you can do better than that. Come on, come on, come on. We could have done without Captain America and the Brotherhood in this set. We didn't need Cap's like team of Avengers in this set. Now I understand you gotta put all the main guys in there, and that's why you have Hulk, and you know, you got, I mean, I'm surprised there is an Iron Man in this set. So you have all the main Avengers. You got the main. You got the big three. Okay, you could have just had Steve in there, and that's all right. But again, these legacy cards, you didn't need to have Miles. You just didn't. You didn't need Miles. Hercules, I'm okay with that. The Spirit of Vengeance, I'm all right with that too. But you could have done better with these legacy cards. Like, take that back to the drawing board, because it's disjointed. That's the thing, is disjointed. You sprinkle like 1 or 2 over here, and then it's nothing. There's no cohesion when it comes down to it. Not saying that it has to be completely cohesive, but at the same time, again, why is Miles in there? We just got a whole bunch of him that nobody's even looking at. Why would you use another one? And even like the Juggernaut. Why is the Juggernaut a legacy card when you just have a Juggernaut as a chase in this set, and you just gave us a Juggernaut in the Collector's Trove? So it seems like a wasted slot when there's tons of characters that actually would do well when it comes to Smash and Destroy. Even when it comes to Magneto, you could have just legacy carded. You could have re-legacy carded, just like you've done a few times. You could have re-legacy carded GSX Magneto with all the stuff floating around. Nobody would have been upset by that. And you could have had him do some crazy stuff with terrain. Nobody would have been upset with it. And then you don't need to put him in as a chase when you just are giving us an Iconics. What it does is, while people who are fans of the characters love it, again, like myself included, I love Magneto. When you just give us so many on top of each other, somebody's going to get lost in the shuffle generally. And I'm not a fan of that, especially when one is completely inferior to the other one, you know? Now, let's get down to things that need to be erased. Oh boy. Again, the first thing up that needs to be erased again is this design where so say someone like Speedball needs to be erased. That is a bad figure. While you definitely tied him to the damage control, it makes me upset because he has no link to the other two characters that are on the actual team that he spent way more time on, which is the New Warriors. He does nothing with the New Warriors, does nothing for the New Warriors, which we have Night Thrasher and Firestar in the game that are legal right now. In their New Warriors gears, he's just kind of standing there. The other two of them are doing something cool looking. He's like, good job, guys. Night Thrasher, you keep doing it, buddy. Firestar, you go, girl. And he's like, good. Absolutely not. So that needs to go back to the drawing board. Or that needs to be erased. We have to erase these dials that have no semblance of who the character actually is. You can tell who the people really like the design team, and I get it, I get it. But Speedball is one of those characters where it's like, all right, man, come on. Another thing that needs to be erased is a character like Hazmat. Where's the rest of her team? Again, give us the Avengers Academy. Like, just go ahead and do that because there's other characters. Finesse just still hasn't been made, and she just showed up in the Disney Plus Spider-Man cartoon. So again, you if you just wanted to make Hazmat, you could have also made Finesse and then made the other guy that does like electricity. You could have made him as well. Again, we haven't had him before, and you could have did Reptile and the one guy who looks like the Red Skull. Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name. But you could have did them two as legacy cards. We need to erase. We need to erase these figures that aren't like. If you're not going to give us, this goes back to the War of the Realms. The things that draw me in is filling in the slots. It's so far away from each other generally that we need to stop that. So like, just we need to stop 1000%. Another thing that needs to be erased is primes that should work together but cannot. So I'm looking at you, Red Harpy. I absolutely hate that she cannot be on a team with Doc Sasquatch because they're from the same storyline. The same storyline. Please stop doing that. Where these characters are in the pages of the comics together and you cannot play them on the map together. I understand that you wanted to do the design the same. I get it. I get it. I get it. Then you make the red harpy the main one and you make the green harpy the prime so that and I understand like the parameters of like, oh, it might be too powerful to have characters that you kill and you can't, but we already have that and they don't die so easily. But the average piece in the game can deal her 4+ damage and just go right through her dial pretty easily. Her dial isn't anything crazy that's going to keep her on the map. So can we please stop? Can we please do better with these prime selections? So when you look at the Destroyer Prime doesn't have anybody else that he needs to be on the map with. That he can't, that is, right? That he can't. And the cool thing is you can have Destroyer on the map and have somebody wearing the Destroyer armor, which is the A version, which is amazing. Another thing that's drawn me into the game drawn me into this set is the equipment, the little bit of equipment that they sprinkled in, just enough. I'm cool with it. I love the Destroyer armor. It's getting used. Again, I got teams ready. But I think it needs to be erased 1000% is this Prime's selection of characters that should go on the same team together. You literally did it with the Squadron Supreme to the point where you had to make an ATA to make them all play on together. But then you made all these Black Panthers that I would love to play on a team together, but cannot because they are primes. Stop doing it, please. Stop doing it. Because I would love to use the Red Harpy and Doc Sasquatch together, and I cannot. I gotta use the Green Harpy, and I didn't want to. Another thing that needs to be erased again from this, from especially, or yeah, that needs to be erased in my mind again is if you're not gonna finish out these whole teams. So we know we're getting the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. We know we are getting a Magneto. We know we are getting a Quicksilver and a Scarlet Witch and a Toad, which I like all. I've seen all four dials. I like it. Where's Mastermind? Where is he? Where is Mastermind? Now, I understand that the last time we got Mastermind, he caused a whole big stir. You don't got to make them that powerful. You don't got to make them that way. Throw them in as a common and make him just a common mind control piece that can do some stuff. That's all you got to do. Stop leaving that. That needs to be erased from the game. You make everyone except for this one piece. It's excruciating to think like, all right, well, if I do want to play the original Brotherhood, I have to go all the way. I have to pull out a piece. It has to be in silver, and I have to pull out a piece that's no longer legal, right? Finish out these teams, please. Just finish out the teams while everyone is still legal. Now we easily could get a mastermind in X-Men '97 because he did show up. He showed up. I think he showed up, or was that no? That was Sebastian Shaw. But we could get him still in X-Men '97. We could get him, but it would have been great for him to show up in the same exact set as the original. We have Cap's original team represented, or his Kooky Quartet. We have that represented in this set. It would have been great to have the original Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, which is Magneto, his children, Toad, and Mastermind. It would have been great to have those 5 characters in the game. Another thing that we need to erase is characters not being able to generate characters that are clearly made to be generated. So I'm looking at you, Arcade. Arcade can generate all this terrain. He can only make 1 LMD. Now, when you watch the Scott Porter unboxing, he pulls 3 of the arcades. It's on the last day. I think the last day, the second to last day, he pulls the actual arcade that can make the one of the other arcade. And he can't make any more. It reminds me of the Spider-Verse set that just came out, the Norman Osborn that makes 1 Goblin Army guy, and then that's it. You can't make any more. And it's like, well, how can you? Are you going to just? So you're expecting people to just play a plethora of these guys? That's just not like it's just not the way this game generally works. And players like to be able to roll dice to help build on their army, especially when you put generics in this set. So I'm going to say it again. If you're going to have generics and you have a boss, make it so the boss can generate them. You don't always have to do a leadership. You can make it so that when I do this or when I do that, or if I get hit or if I do all these other things, think outside the box. When I see the Absorbing Man and how you can bring in the other Absorbing Mans, why can't we have a boss that does that? Why can't we have a boss that says, oh, when a character hits me for 4 damage, I bring in a guy. And now that guy can take the hit now after I get dealt some damage. Oh, that person hit me with equipment? Sweet. I generate 2 guys. So knowing how Arcade is, it's sad that he can only generate 1 arcade, which I love the arcade LMDs. I love them. But just based on the coalition that I saw, you're going to pull multiples of him. And even though they're only 25 points, the average player is not going to spend, let's just say 75 points just to make 3 or just to play 3 arcades. But playing an arcade that can spawn the other ones, just like he did with the murder bots in the Ten of Swords set or X of Swords set, when he did those, that was cool. So again, it doesn't always have to be the same leadership role. It can be just, oh, at the beginning of the turn, generate this, like Chase Doom does. He doesn't have to roll leadership to make his Doom bots. They just come. So we need to erase that out of the game. Please, let's stop getting, and especially this set, that needs to be erased, where it's like, okay, well, let's just have guys and nobody can generate them. Because if not, no one's going to ever play these pieces, and you're going to get tons of them in your commons and uncommon slots, and they're just going to collect dust. And I think that's just a travesty in 2025. Same thing with like the Cravens. It would have been cool if the main Craven would have had a way to kind of generate, even though the story goes against that. It would have been nice if it would have been a Craven that could, like the main Craven that makes the other Cravens. That would have been just cool. It would have been, it would have really, really been cool. What else? When it really comes down to it, I like this set overall. I really do. But I think those are the things that really, in my mind, that I was like, okay, I like this. This is kind of and this definitely needs to be erased. So with that being the case, what say you? What do you think of this set? Are you liking it? Are you digging it? Do you like the sculpts? Do you like the character selection? Do you like the power sets? Do you like the legacy cards? Are you liking the chases that we've seen so far? Leave your comments down below. Of course, I love to talk Heroclix with any and everybody. I like to just talk clicks. So with that being the case, it is your super sketch artist, Antonio. Again, as always, be good to yourself, be good to others, go be super.